Let's go.
All right, we're back. Episode 36, Trailers to Yachts. We got a brand new guest, Jack here from Black Cap. He brought us a couple bottles to sample. We might do shots of these during this.
I think so.
Yeah.
Well,
Which one's hotter?
They're about the same, honestly.
About the same?
Actually, those should be really close to the same because they're the same recipe when it comes to the peppers inside. It's just the water we use in it's the only thing different. So one's got coffee in it and one's got water.
Okay, on a scale from hot to not, how hot?
We're pretty mild. Everyone's got their own little heat scale in their head, so I try not to like give people like, oh, this is a number 5, but think
habanero.
Like, less. This is a Fresno pepper on
Fresno,
the base,
okay.
so it's kind of like a red jalapeno.
Okay.
I would say in the equivalence of spiciness, like think like a Frank's or a Sriracha, somewhere around in there.
Okay.
You want to be the everyday user. I'm not trying to blow wigs off or anything like that.
So more about flavor,
100%.
less about dying.
100%.
I like that.
Yeah, I'm all about that. You want to start off just telling us about yourself and your company, kind of how you got going?
Yeah, sure. So I'm Jack Moore. Company name is technically Ruffled Feather Ferments. Our product is Black Cap Hot Sauce. No one knows that first name. We came out the gate kind of hoping we would do more than just hot sauce. Maybe it's like some fermented condiments, and we still may. But the hot sauce world is definitely making a name for us, and we love doing it. So Black Cap is for the most part what people know us by. I was a professionally trained chef for almost 15 years. I was an auto mechanic before that. We're rolling way back into like the 2005 area for that. But automotive world took a turn for me. I got into the culinary side of things. For the most part, I stayed in the like chef driven culinary world, if you know what I mean. Like there's definitely like corporate restaurants, there's independent chef driven restaurants, there's catering, there's all types of shit you can do in the culinary world. But I've kind of always found my niche in the independent chef driven world. I did a few stints in some fast food, pizza delivery stuff, which is all fun. I loved it. But I really found my home in that like chef driven kitchen. So spent a lot of time in that world. Like I said, about 15 years. Fell in love with fermentation as I was doing that. And just food in general. But fermentation was something that just kind of blew my mind. Along with that, I was kind of the hothead, not in attitude, but like spicy things. Yeah. I was like the party trick guy, like beer pong, like give me a solo cup full of hot sauce. I'll chug it, like and not break a sweat.
Give me a habanero. I'm ready.
Yeah, exactly. Heartburn caught up with me in my 30s, so I don't do that anymore. But bringing the story of like why I do hot sauce, I had a passion for spicy food and I had a passion for fermentation. So probably let's rewind probably like, I would say like 10 years ago. So 5 to 8 years into my culinary career, whatever restaurant I was at, I kind of had this house hot sauce or a fermented recipe that I would make for whatever our hot sauce was. And every time I switched restaurants, I would just switch the recipe a little bit. That way, if the restaurant that I was at wanted to keep making it, they could. And the restaurant that I was going to move to, it wouldn't be the same exact table sauce sitting there. So over the course of the years, this recipe here, the regular Black Cap, was kind of what had always been in my back pocket as the hot sauce that I always made for the general public that would walk into the restaurant. So flash forward until I was opening Watershed in 2016, 2017 times. This was the hot sauce that was all over the menu. It wasn't in a bottle at that point in time or anything like that. It was just our house hot sauce. It was on the fried chicken, the pork rinds. We made it in-house. People loved it. So we knew we had something that was like pretty cool. Like we had people raving about the hot sauce and we wanted to buy like quart containers of it from us and whatnot. So there was a time at Watershed, things used to be a little differently. And we were really kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't want to say like searching for prestige or awards, but we were definitely going down the path. Like we wanted to make some waves. Like we wanted to get the recognition of like the James Beard and the big players in the culinary world. And as I was doing that, I was like, well, how do we connect my chef brand with someone who's not coming into the restaurant? Like how do we connect with the people that's hours away or that just don't have the opportunity to come in and spend that money on a dinner? And I was like, I had some chef friends in some other cities that had similar situations where they had a consumer packaged good, whether it be like a dried salami, like a cured meat, or maybe a hot sauce, or just something that represented them as a chef brand and them as their restaurant that people could buy and bring into their household.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, this is a great idea. Like this is exactly what I'm talking about. How do we get my chef brand into people's kitchens at home? How do we share that? And I was like, well, if there was ever one thing that I wanted to put in the bottle, it would probably be something spicy and it'd probably be something fermented. And that conversation probably started in like 2018, 2019. And I was still very much like running Watershed's restaurant, not the distillery portion, but the restaurant. And as you guys know, as business owners, like running a restaurant's not an easy task. It's not something you do on the back burner. You don't like, oh, in my free time, I'm just going to go check out what the restaurant's doing. Like it's very demanding. So this was actually the back burner project. You know, like if in my free time, I'm going to try to do this branding work, and I'm going to try to work with some of the friends that I had made at Watershed. Like I had a great group of network of really talented people at Watershed to help me with the branding and the creative behind it. So yeah, in that 2018, 2019, we started talking about what could a packaged good look like for me as a chef brand. And we were going down this road, and then COVID happened. And Watershed wasn't a restaurant anymore. We kept Watershed's restaurant closed for over a year, almost a year and a half, because the distillery itself had switched into hand sanitizer mode, which as a company, we had just deemed more important to produce hand sanitizer and give that to the people that needed it and first responders and whatnot. But if you would have came into Watershed during that 2020, 2021 COVID period, the restaurant itself, like all of our dining room tables, like it was literally hand sanitizer warehouse. Like there wasn't anywhere for a restaurant to be. So I had all this free time to actually finish that stuff that I had started, like the branding and the dialing the recipe into what it was going to be exactly. So in 2021, with the help of Watershed and the team there, I used their kitchen in the beginning to get this out, because it's not something I can just do at my house and take it to the farmer's market. I need to be legit and regulated. So we used Watershed's kitchen to get this off the ground. And then I got Watershed reopened as that COVID wave kind of died down and everyone was starting to come back to life, with the expectation that I was going to step away and do this full time. But it was very all good water under the bridge with everyone that was involved in that. But support on both sides. Like I helped the restaurant with whatever they needed, and they were going to give me the space that I needed. And yeah, that's kind of how it got off the ground. It was very, very small and organic in the beginning. It was, we didn't go into debt to do this. It was, hey, I'm going to make 80 bottles of this, and when I sell them, I'm going to make another 80 bottles, and just keep trying to organically grow it. And yeah, here we are, almost 5 years later. Cruising.
Crazy. I'm going to rewind so we can do our inaugural cheers, because I forgot it. I always do that. So cheers. Thanks for coming on.
Cheers. Yeah, thanks for having me.
Got our applause going. I do like how you brought up working fast food and called it a stint, like it was prison time.
To this day, I worked at a Chipotle. I have no shame in saying this, but there is no other. It was one of my hardest kitchen jobs ever, for a lot of good reasons. Like everything was cleaned at the end of the night to an exceptional level. Like we took the light bulbs out of the hood and polished everything. But I've never, ever had another restaurant where there's always like 2 buses of high school kids like waiting outside to come in. Like never, like that's a great problem to have for your restaurant. You want people lined up to come in, but it's just like, put 90 more pieces of chicken on the grill, 90 more pieces of chicken, like 15 minutes later, 90 more pieces. Like it was just always busy.
Wasn't it Chipotle that started in like a college kid?
I don't really know.
I think it was not Chipotle.
No, Steve Ells was Chipotle. I don't think he was a college kid. He was like a culinary grad and then decided to start in San Francisco.
I heard a story about how Chipotle started, but I have no idea if it's true or not. But I heard it was a culinary school grad who was trying to open up a fine dining restaurant. So he opened up this like burrito joint to try to raise money, and it just took off. I have no idea if there's truth to that.
Big burritos were like the thing. So he's like, I'll do this for now. And like their branding was completely different. And then it just blew up. They had a line out the door, and they're like, why don't we try to make more of these?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was close.
Yeah, pretty much.
You went to college? Some guy who probably went to college?
Yeah.
Yeah, crazy. So you said you've been doing these for 5 years. Do you do everything still at your house, or do you have like a base somewhere where you do all this stuff now?
Yeah, so we actually can't do anything at our house with this. We're considered like an acidified food. So like think like just the pickles that you would make or sauerkraut, kimchi, stuff like that. So there are some small cottage food businesses in the state of Ohio that can operate out of their house, like bakeries and some dry goods, but acidified food is not one of them. So from the get-go, I had to be in an actual commercial kitchen, which is where Watershed came in to help in the beginning time.
Nice.
But as we moved out of Watershed, we found, we went on the search for, we couldn't really, as I mentioned, we didn't go into debt to do this. We didn't take out a ton of money. I didn't have the cash flow to just go find a brick and mortar. So we were looking at those like commissary type places, like here in town, like the 1400 Food Lab, the Food Fort, the places of that. But during COVID, those were packed. Like they were so full of people, and there just wasn't room, and it was very expensive as well. Like you had, and it's like to get a good rate, you had to go in at like 3:00 in the morning, and I almost bid on that, but instead, we found a commissary kitchen, much smaller commissary kitchen, about an hour north in Mansfield. It seems like a far drive. It is a far drive, but that's where we are currently, is in Mansfield. We do want to bring our production closer to home or back closer to Columbus, both for time and just for growth purposes. We're kind of busting at the seams in that kitchen up there. It's a community kitchen. So at any given time, I could be working with 2 or 3 other businesses in there.
Right.
So you have to learn to work with one another, which is great, but you can't ever just show up to work expecting to run full speed because you don't really know what you're going to be running with. So we're at a point where it's still just me and my wife running this company. So we kind of have to be a little more dialed in than that. So we are actively looking to try to get our production somewhere else. But for now, where we are, it's an IdeaWorks. Have you ever heard of IdeaWorks? Like the office rental spaces, kind of like almost like Cohatch. So there's an IdeaWorks in Mansfield, and they bought this old, think like a VFW hall, but it's called Sons of Italy. And they bought the old building, and there used to be a bar on one side, and they'd always have an area on the other side where the banquets would be, and a little kitchenette between the two. So that the bar and the banquet and all that was no more. So IdeaWorks bought this building, turned it into a little entrepreneurial kitchen, as we call it. And yeah, that's where I'm at. It's cool. It's been great for us as a startup because it wasn't something we had to commit to price wise. It wasn't like, $3,000 every month. It was very much a clock in and out situation. Like when I go up there, I log my hours, I log out, and whatever at the end of the month, whatever I racked up, there's just an hourly charge for that. So if we have months in the beginning, like I said, I only make 80 bottles sometimes. Like in the beginning, that was great. I only have a couple of days of production a month. That's literally all I paid for. But we're at a point now where it's a 40-hour work week, keeping up with production. So it's not having that style of model. It's great for the startup. We're growing out of our startup shoes.
Yeah.
And it's just the two of you guys.
Yeah, man. It keeps us busy. Like that's something that we hope to also grow as we get a more central production facility and offices. We can have a little team grow with that, both in the production side and helping us on the sales and marketing side of things. Because we are 100% vertically integrated company. And what I mean by that, like we don't grow the peppers, but we make the sauce, we bottle the sauce, we label it, we lid it, we deliver it. Like we do all distribution to all of every retailer that we go to. So anywhere that you see us from, Cleveland, Toledo to the northern parts of Kentucky, either me or my wife drove that to that business and put it on the shelf.
Crazy.
Yeah, it takes a lot of work. So we are hoping to grow our team to help us with any and all things that.
Heck yeah.
Does Uber do like distribution?
right.
Uber distribution.
I've had some
Amazon might, but I don't know about Uber.
I have a buddy of mine who does some Lyft driving and to make ends meet. And the thoughts crossed my mind. I'm like, how do I just because we have a day every week where people order online that we're just shipping out. It's not a ton, but 5 or 6 orders going out every week. And I'm like, could I just put this in my buddy's car and just tag it up as a Lyft? Like here's all the spots you got to drop.
Here's your trench coat and your briefcase. Just go in the back alley. Deliver it.
So when you first started out, what was your plan to grow the business? How were you planning on were you going to do farmers markets? I know it was during COVID. So was it a lot of social media presence and kind of doing the e-commerce side? Or?
Yeah. So to be honest, to say that I had a solid plan would be a lie. Yeah, I don't think I had a solid plan. I'm a chef at heart. I like to play with food. The only thing that I was certain of is I had a really damn good tasting hot sauce. How to make it grow, I wasn't sure, but I knew I had a lot of connections coming from my culinary world, and they weren't necessarily the connections that you need as a consumer packaged good, as far as like getting into the, you know, the Kroger, the Giant Eagles and stuff like that. It wasn't those connections, but it was kind of what I'd like to call the cool kids in the culinary world. You know, like all the chefs in town, that are at the nice restaurants or in Cleveland, people that I had rubbed elbows with throughout my culinary career that I consider friends that are on doing their own thing now. They might be running, you know, a small deli or a small grocery store, or have the ability to put a refrigerator in their restaurant because they have a little grab and go section. And it was people like that in the beginning that just knew me as a chef brand, as a person, a hardworking person in the kitchen they've worked with. They're like, hey, whatever you're doing, like bring it to us. Like we want to help. So in the beginning, it was very much that. And also going back to like Watershed being a really good partner in the beginning, as I was getting Watershed back up and running after COVID and making this at the same time, they could have very easily just been like, hey, we're not going to use that hot sauce anymore. Like, but no, they were just like, hey, let us be your first customer. Like just make the hot sauce in your own time, sell it to the kitchen. So as I left Watershed, and even while I was there getting reopened, like they were still kept around as their bulk hot sauce to use. So right off the rip, I was very lucky to have some people that were interested in what we were doing. Being a professional chef in the city for so long, that interest also comes from the public media. Like it wasn't hard for me to have the editors of the local publications like Stock and Barrel and 614 Magazine be like, hey, I hear you're leaving Watershed. What are you doing? Like it was very much I didn't have to pitch that story. They just had to hear about it. And not everyone has that ability. Like I take that for granted sometimes, but the average person that just makes a hot sauce or any product at their house or wherever and tries to take it to market, I don't think you realize how many connections you may not have, or what it takes to like write a PR story and pitch it to a news channel when you don't know anyone that's there that's going to receive that or how to talk about it. So I feel like I was very, very lucky having the connections that we did in the beginning for people, just the right people to get it at the right time and expose other people who know and love food to it. But going back to your original question, farmers markets and stuff like that. Yes, that was the goal. I knew farmers markets weren't a thing right then in COVID, but I didn't think they were going to be gone forever. I mean, they were already kind of coming back. It was like drive-through style and stuff like that. And I was like, okay. So basically I was like, let's get through the hump of getting Watershed back open, getting this brand actually launched off the ground so people know what it is. And by the time I step away from Watershed, I had a feeling farmers markets would be back. What I didn't know is you have to sign up for your farmers markets in like January and February. Like you can't do that shit in like September when you decide you're ready to rock. So you have to
you guys going to be here this weekend? Can I show up?
In the beginning, it was very, very organic like that. Whatever market would accept us, the craft vendors market, the farmers markets, and actually the farmers markets, like the weekly Saturday cadence style farmers markets, that wasn't what I was interested in the beginning because I was a one-man show and I was worried that I couldn't keep up with the demand because my sauce takes over 30 days to make, like the fermentation time, like it sits for 30 days. So if I was to run out on a Saturday farmers market, I don't have any more for about 35 days. And because I started off right off the rip with some wholesale accounts like Watershed and some other restaurants that relied on me, I was pretty hesitant on like not overstretching myself. So we did any of the other, like the German Village Makers Market of, those similar style markets. And it just slowly grew and grew and grew. And people would, there was a few people that I would like kind of pound the pavement at and like try to get in there. But I'm not a salesman by any means. I'm definitely a chef. So the people I was pounding the pavement to were like my buddies in the industry that were like, hadn't picked me up yet. Like, hey, what are you doing? Like, how do we work together? Like, or just other folks that I had supported throughout the years. Like, maybe I had bought product off of you as a chef for 5 years. And I know you have a cooler in your facility and like, hey, remember when I bought all that stuff off of you? Maybe you could help me out. And luckily that's, small business to small business. Like everyone has been so helpful and willing to pick us up in that manner. So in the beginning it was, even to this point now, like we still have so much just organic growth. We're still not out there just like cold calling people, trying to get into every door. Like we are still at a point of almost like defensive sales. Like we will hold any conversation we can get with someone about picking us up, but I'll also be blatantly honest if I just can't support it.
Mm-hmm.
I would much rather, especially when you like we're in Giant Eagle Market District, so I'll use them as an example. Like we're there, but if they were to approach me and be like, I couldn't support their ask, I'm not going to start off on the bad foot because you're never going to get back in with them if you start off with the bad foot. So I was very cautious about that in the beginning. So there wasn't much of a plan at all when it was just me. And I would say like 1.5 to 2 years into me doing this by myself, I finally convinced my wife, Nikki, whom I think you guys have been talking to the most of the time, coordinating this. I convinced her to also leave Watershed, and because she was Watershed's sales director for the distillery for like almost 10 years, longer than I'd worked at Watershed. So you had me making the sauce and my wife is the salesperson covering 9 states for Watershed. And it's like, it's kind of a perfect combo here for what we got going on. So eventually she came on board, I think it was October of 2023. And she came on board to immediately start helping me with everything, not just sales. I think her first October through the holiday season was all just in production, cutting peppers, filling bottles.
Was she pretty mad at you at that time? Chopping peppers?
No, I don't think so.
This is what you promised me.
Yeah. I don't think so. We could revisit that conversation now because 5 years in, I'd say we're probably working harder than we ever have. And we probably don't make nearly as much money as we used to, but we have a lot more time together now. Like I see her. It used to be like she would be asleep by the time I came home and I would be asleep when she left for work. So we got to hang out on like Sundays. Yeah. And now we have every evening together. And that was definitely more important to me than a paycheck. Not that you can't not have a paycheck, but
say that.
It is definitely it's hard being a business owner if you guys hadn't figured that out yet.
We figured it out.
It's very demanding. If you've ever had a job where you're like, man, I'm just working my ass off. Wish I could, didn't have to work for the man. I want to work for myself. Let me tell you, you
just work for the man.
Yeah, work for the man. If you're concerned about how hard
you're thinking about it,
if the load of work is what you're concerned about, just stay with the man. But I say all of that like I couldn't be happier with what we're doing. Like I'm really proud of what we're doing. I think we have really good legs and foundation to build something off of, to really make this something that's bigger than what it is and really cool.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Are you shipping out of state?
Mm-hmm.
Or everything?
Yeah, we ship coast to coast. As far as our wholesale goes, like for you to walk into a retailer and find us sitting on the shelf, we don't ship to retailers. Like we deliver to retailers. We walk in and put it on the shelf. So you're only going to, for the most part, find that in Ohio. And for the most part within Ohio, it's the 3, mostly Columbus and Cleveland, a little bit of Cincinnati. It's the main cities. It's really hard for us, being just the 2 of us, to hit every little farm market that stretches throughout the rolling farms that we have in our state. But ideally, I would love to make it into all of those. Shipping wise, e-commerce, if someone hops on our website and orders a couple bottles, yep, I'll ship them. We ship them coast to coast.
Nice.
We have the ability from a regulatory standpoint. Like if someone approached us out of state, like a retailer out of state, and was like, hey, we want to pick your product up. Like I can sell to them, but it just goes back to that honest conversation. Like I don't have the means to get it to them in a timely process and not timely is not the right word, an affordable process for me. Like by the time I would pay someone or pay the shipping to get it there, like it's, I'm not making any money off of it. So
Mm-hmm.
Do you mostly do retail then, or e-commerce? A little bit of both.
It's a little bit of both. The e-commerce side of things is really small. It grows, and holiday times, you always see a big push. Like we always do a big push as well as far as flavors go. We'll make a ton of different little flavors just kind of for the holidays and really push some deals and just to get people buying it for gifts and whatnot. So the month of December is a crazy e-commerce time for us. Outside of that, the majority of our revenue comes from, I would say, wholesale partners. That's the retailers, the grocery stores, or the restaurant partners, and are direct to consumer, which is e-commerce to an extent, but farmers markets, like where we're going and setting up a tent and someone's talking face to face to us, and there is no middleman to take margin. Like we're selling directly to that person, and that's very seasonal. We're here in Ohio. There are some farmers markets that happen in the winter time, but like right now we do anywhere from 3 to 4 markets. We could do 3 to 4 markets a week if we wanted to. We usually stick around 2, but there's 2 to 3 farmers markets every week that happens right now. And as you roll into the winter time, it's really going to dial back to like maybe 1.
Yeah.
Sometimes once a month. So
do you have a preference between DTC to wholesale and anywhere in between?
Well,
I assume margin, every step margins get slimmer and slimmer and slimmer.
Every step. Yes, you're true. Margins get slimmer. It also goes back to what I was just talking about, working hard. Like, a farmer's market's a big lift. Like, I think you guys got a food truck at one point.
We did. Right? Yeah.
So you get it. Like it's, you take your food truck out for a 3-hour long farmer's market. There's a lot more than the 3 hours that happen there.
Oh yeah.
There's the setup time and there's the tear down time. And it takes about 5 minutes of rain for you to not do any business that day. Mm-hmm. Or you could crank out $2,000 if it's a gorgeous day. So it's very hit or miss on those markets. So when the markets are busy and when they're good, I'll take them all day long. But that's just kind of the name of the game. So working with wholesalers and retailers, that's an easier lift. But I mean,
you're working
my margins getting taken away there as well, because we're selling it to them as a cheaper price. So it's kind of I don't want to say like a catch-22, but you just kind of got to weigh. Every business is different. If you've got the time to do it, then go do more markets. If you don't got the time, then start looking for distribution help or, pushing it into grocery stores. Just understand you got to sell more in those stores to make the same thing that you'd make at the farmer's market.
Yeah.
So we haven't found the perfect balance of what that looks like for us or what the perfect one is for us. For us, it's definitely, it's a nice blend of everything that happens. E-commerce I like a lot because it's straight to the consumer. It's a good way for us to control the consumer experience all the way around, which is important. When you're sitting on a shelf at a grocery store, like the only thing that can speak is your label. You're not there to explain the product. You're not there to tell people how to use it or what to expect of it or anything like that. And on e-commerce, you have a little bit more of an ability to do that with your website, and people message us and you can talk to us through those platforms. But again, we lose some of that margin to shipping and to packaging it and all that kind of stuff. But I do appreciate the ability to control that consumer experience all the way around.
Yeah, we had a brief foray into the e-commerce side, and we did all right, but we mostly just sold to friends and family, and then
we
opened a
like
restaurant and had to put it on the back burner.
I think we put like a month, maybe 2 of effort into that.
Yeah,
because our initial plan was our seasoning bottles. It's our whole thing is the food truck. You're not going to sell anything in the food truck nationwide. And so even the merch, it's like no one wants to buy a t-shirt from a food truck in Columbus. Like we understand that. But our seasoning, before the restaurant was even an idea, that before any of that came up, we were like, let's bottle our seasoning. And in our spare time, just try to build a, e-commerce store and see where that goes. But I think it was like 2 months into it, we started talking to the landlord of this place, and that kind of all went on the back burner. But is my mic still cutting out?
A little bit, but it feels like you're backing up maybe.
Doing too much of this.
Yeah. But it was mildly successful. Like we did a few like nationwide ads on like Instagram and the social medias, and we got some like bites in like Portland and like places you wouldn't expect.
Some of that's very much like you in the e-commerce world, like you kind of get out of it what you put into it. Like if you're not putting in money into some ads, if you're not doing some email blasts to let people know, reminding people like, hey, I'm here like every month.
Hey,
like,
you left this in your cart. You sure you don't want to buy it? Here's 10% off.
All of that stuff makes a difference.
Yeah.
And all of like a company the size of us, every bottle makes a difference, let alone, if we can send one email out and get 10 orders, that's a win. It's a big win. So yeah, it's again, there's like an algorithm, for lack of term, that you got to find that works in all of those channels, whether it's farm market, wholesale or e-commerce. But e-commerce, I feel like it's definitely, if you don't put anything into it, don't just put something on your website and expect people to find it. It's not.
Oh yeah, our website's still up, and I don't think we haven't put anything towards advertising it. It's like you can't expect anyone to just be like Google and like, oh, I landed on this
brick
page.
and mortar, and people can't find that.
Yeah, exactly.
They're not going to find a website.
It's a job and a lot of effort, like anything else.
100%.
Yeah. I gotta ask. So, like, since it's such a long lead time, 35 days, you said for the fermentation process.
Yeah, about 30 days on the ferment process. Then if you take
have you mapped out your growth, to be able to meet demand? Is that tough to be able to always have product ready to go in case there is a new supplier who wants your stuff, or is it kind of hey, you gotta give me 30 days to be able to meet that, and then I can get the shipment out?
Kind of both.
Yeah.
We very rarely are we getting hit, mainly because we're not looking to expand into those, like a regional grocery store.
Yeah.
If someone, again, if someone like a Market District came back to me, or a Giant Eagle, and was like, hey, we want to take you regional and put you into these 4 states, I can't do it. I don't have the production to do that. So every person that approaches us is kind of a case by case. If there's someone, and most retailers that we're dealing with, no one's getting pallets of sauce dropped off. No one's getting hundreds of cases or anything like that. We're walking in with 12 to 24 bottles and putting them on the shelf. And it's a lot of people, because we're such a small company, they work on a consignment basis. So I own the product sitting on the shelf until it goes through their POS on the way out the door. And then they cut me a check after the fact. So again, you're not going to drop off 100 cases of consignment to somebody. Gotcha. When we do have big orders, mainly in our strategic partnerships. So this was a good year for us for shooting for strategic partnerships. And by strategic partnership, I mean finding other brands that our brand would work well with. Mm-hmm. And Ray's Hog Pit's a good one. We just had a meeting with him the other day. I've known those guys forever, but most people who love barbecue probably going to love our sauce as well. And the brands themselves kind of work together. If you just, putting them side by side, all of that's something you don't really think about when you want to go working with someone. But if the 2 brands don't look like they work together side by side on the shelf, you're instantly making it harder for yourself to try to convince the general public that these 2 things are going to go together. So strategic partnerships, utilizing someone else's customer base to get engagement, and vice versa. They're using our customer base to get engagement, and hopefully we find that cross customer. Sometimes those strategic partnerships will come along with a big order. The biggest one we ever had would have been the collaboration we did with Swenson's, the burger drive-in place, fast food place. They have 22 locations. And they approached us about doing a collaboration, and their order would have been way more than we would normally produce in a month's time. And we just had to be very honest with them on the phone. Do we want this partnership? Absolutely. Here's how much time I would
Gotcha.
You need to give me your best guess on what you're going to use in that month time. And then I'm going to tell you how long I need to make that. And if we can make that work, then all is a go. And that was great. They gave me an estimate. We set a future date that was more than 30 days out. They gave me a chance to get all of that rolling. And yeah, I don't want to say it went off without a hitch, but it
went off.
It went off, and it went off well. It went off well. Everyone was happy. We exceeded both in that specific partnership that Swenson's and us. The collaboration went over better than expected, so we were selling more than expected. So we were scrambling to make the sauce happen for them. But luckily, we overproduced, hoping that would happen. Mm-hmm. Didn't mean that I could make it happen any faster. It's on day 7 we're running out, and I'm like, all right, you guys got 22 locations, and I said I would deliver all of them. I cannot hit everything from Youngstown to Cincinnati in one day. So tell me who needs it the worst, and we'll get it. So, having a company like that, even someone like Swenson's, they're based out of Akron. I know you guys aren't from Ohio, so they're a Northeast Ohio company, and they're still relatively small. They're huge compared to me. Like I said, they got a huge presence. They've been around since, I want to say, 50 plus years. But they're still a small company. I just had to be honest. If you guys are willing to work with us. Here's our situation, and we'll be willing to make it happen. And that honesty up front is what brought that collaboration to fruition. And to this day, that was, it had nothing to do with margin or profitability or anything like that. Like from a brand exposure awareness for us is huge. I mean, they have way more followers than us on any social media brand. They got 22 spots that people are rolling up to every single day. Big pictures of us on the side of their building, big pictures of our bottles all over, you know, chicken nuggets and chicken tenders, and like exactly what I need. Like that's things that most brands would have to spend money on. Like most brands are going to approach someone like, hey, we're going to cut you a deal, or we're going to pay you to be a collaborator with you this month. And we're going to make all this signage and stuff like that. So to have a brand that wanted to work with us and do that and not completely empty our pockets out at the same time, like huge. You know, I can't stress any partnership, no matter how big you think it's big or small you think it is. Like you don't realize how sometimes your customer base is like overlaps, and people get giddy over that. Like they love that story. Like you can have a good product and people will buy it. You can have a bad product and people will buy it. They buy the story.
Yeah.
Like they want to know that brand story. They want to feel like they're involved in that. They want to feel like they're in the know. So the more that you can boast those brand stories, at least in our experience with our sauce, like that's really, really helped us.
Yes. One of the things we've talked about too is like, we've done a few collabs, but your customer base is like very loyal. If we collab with somebody else or we're doing something there, they take our word for it.
They trust us.
They trust us. And they're like, I've never heard of this place, but if they like it, I'll like it.
100%.
You know, and vice versa. It's just interesting how that following works. They're like, oh
yeah,
the Smash Buddies like it, so I'll try it.
Yeah, 100%.
I'm a nobody, but okay.
Yeah,
that's good.
I mean, that's the same way when we were on the sandwich at Swenson's. Like there was tons of people that had never, ever, ever heard of us and would never, ever buy a $12 bottle of hot sauce out of the refrigerator section. But would they try it on a sandwich from Swenson's? Absolutely. And that was so crucial. And on the flip side of things, like sometimes those strategic partnerships from a business level, it's cool about being a business owner is you get to pick who you want to work with, you know, and it's not always about profitability. It's not, sometimes it's just about, hey, I want to work with my friends.
Yeah.
But sometimes there's also more to it than that. Or how do you help one another? And sometimes it's not just as easy as like, oh, your customers are my customers and they're going to love it. And this is a good example. This one that I brought of Guardian Cold Brew. So Guardian Cold Brew, they're a Cleveland company, and LT, good friend of ours who owns that company. You know, something that not only did we want to do it because it was cool and we wanted to work together, but also he has plenty of places that we're trying to get into that he's already there, and vice versa. We have places that he would love to have Guardian Cold Brew in. And it's very easy for us as kind of a team. And I don't mean team and like walking in together, but he could easily pop into one of his retailers and being like, hey, look at this sauce that's getting made with my product now. It'd go great if you like brought it in, it would sell. And you know, that could be a grocery store that already told us no, that he's already got it in, and vice versa. Like, you know, he might have someone in mind where it's like, I mean, I would love to sell my cold brew there, and we already sell hot sauce there. So it's a very easy way of just to make that introduction and networking. And in the consumer packaged good, it's kind of all about who you know. Like if you want to move faster or get into somewhere faster, like get the right email. Like don't send off the email to info@whatever retailer. Like find the person that's in charge of buying for that department. Like it's going to go a lot faster. And sometimes you got to work with your friends who are doing the same thing. See what you don't know what you don't know. And don't be afraid to ask the people who do know.
Yeah. Since we started this podcast, because you guys were talking about, I think before we started, we have no experience in any of this. We just moved to Columbus a few years ago. So we didn't, like, one, not being in the industry, and two, not being in the area, we didn't have any connections in the city. And so we were at 1400 Food Lab in our food truck, which was like, I think the initial start of our like relationship building with other, you know, businesses, and same with, we parked the food truck at different breweries. And so like starting to build those connections. But then we started the podcast up in November last year, and the first few episodes were just us, but then we started bringing on different business owners and restaurant owners. And now we're like building a network of connections like throughout the city. It's like all these people like you, our paths may never have crossed, you know. It's like you start building all those connections, and everybody says this whole industry is about connections and who you know.
Oh, 100%. And also you may cross paths with somebody. Like, again, going back to my buddy LT with Guardian Cobra, like I've known LT for years. I never knew it would be this year that our paths would cross again and be like, hey, maybe we can work together on what we're doing individually. And like, sometimes those networks, you don't realize how long you got to hang on to that network before it actually comes into fruition and something that's beneficial for you.
Mm-hmm.
What's next for you guys?
It's a good question. I mentioned we're actively trying to find a bigger production facility. I would love to do more products. I'm real bored cutting red peppers in half.
That's so beautiful, though, man.
No, like I mentioned, I'm a fermentation nerd. I love it. All things fermented. It doesn't have to be spicy, whether it's just sauerkraut,
kimchi.
Yeah, I mean, all
you make
things.
Kimchi?
I mean, at home, I do.
Big kimchi guy.
And that's a good example. Like we started this company to be a fermented condiment company. Whether it be
not just fluids.
Yeah, not just like hot sauce. Like it could have been vinegar, it could have been kimchi, it could have been sauerkraut, like anything that you would use a condiment, mustard, whatever. I just thought it would be. I'm a condiment guy, also and a fermentation guy. Like I love condiments. In all the restaurants I ran, I'm. If anyone that's ever worked with me listens to this, they're probably going to like laugh, but I've probably ruined people's lives because I never let us buy ketchup and mustard. Like if we had that stuff in the restaurant, we made it. Like we're a from scratch restaurant. Like I know we can buy Heinz ketchup and I know that's what the people want, but like, let's just try to make the closest thing that we can get to Heinz ketchup. So I've always been someone to like
make ketchup.
Sure.
I would. So
burger shop, I feel like you have to have Heinz ketchup.
You should have Heinz ketchup. As a burger shop, if you're going through more than a couple ramekins a night, I don't advise you to take and try to make ketchup.
We make our own ranch. We make our own sauce.
That's great.
Yeah.
Can
only do so many fluids,
100%. So I'll take another little splash.
You got it.
Yeah, fill her up.
I would love to do more products, not just hot sauce. I would love to think like small batch. We'll use kimchi since you brought that up, but think like regional small batch, like chef driven kimchi. So it doesn't have to just be spicy cabbage and scallions and whatever, but what if you did like, colored green and beets and onion kimchi? I'm spitballing here. I don't know, but like, what if you just were able to like look at the farmers, what they have available this month. Like, here's the produce that's available to us. Let's make a fermented condiment out of that.
Corn
could be one of them.
They have that here.
But when you go to, I don't know how many farmers markets you guys have been to, but if you go to a farmer's market here in Columbus, there's a good chance there's going to be some pickle guys there. They just have 5-gallon buckets out. They're just scooping pickles. Like, I want those ones. I've never seen anyone do that with fermented products. Like, what if you walked up to a farmer's market and there was like 5 different kimchis out in buckets and you're just like, give me one, that one. So like, I really want to like dig into what could be that small chef driven fermented food category. I don't know if there's any money to be made there. Cause a lot of times when you're just playing with food, you're not making money with that food. You can do some cool things, but it doesn't mean you're keeping your lights on. But I would really love to do more products that allow us to expand more and to being more supportive with our local farmers. Because like, this is a great product. This is the only product that I make all year round. And I can only buy the products in this locally, like the peppers, for a very short window of what is the Ohio growing season. And as a chef, that's something that I've pride myself on, is like being able to work with our farmers on any given season. Like when I was at Watershed, it wasn't about it's springtime, so we have asparagus on the menu for the 3 months that we call spring. Like, no, if the farmer has asparagus for 3 weeks, that's how long we're going to run it. If they have it for 3 months, we're going to run it for 3 months. It wasn't, let's support our community. Like anyone can order asparagus to come in from your produce purveyor, but find the people that are actually growing things in your community, support them, and know that farming's hard. If they have a shitty season, if a random hailstorm comes and wipes out their lettuce or whatever happens, like for me as a chef, that meant I would rather take that product off my menu and find whatever's next versus trying to source it from 500 miles away.
Yeah.
I don't have any problem with the people that do that. It's just my mission as a chef was to use local food to feed the local people. So, I still love to do that. And in our house, we live that way. You know, we try to support as local as possible and buy from local farms, or maybe it's not a local farm, just a local, like a grocery store, you know, and support the local. So I really want to find a way that I can take our fermentation knowledge and branch it out into some more goods.
Yeah.
You know, start buying things other than peppers and garlic. I would love, the kitchen I work in right now, there used to be a grow op that would come in there. So it was like 5 to 6 farmers that all kind of brought in everything to one walk-in, and they all got sold as one. And I would get to play with a lot of it because we could do some small batch stuff, but some things I just, you know, there is no outlet for me. And I was just kind of bummed, you know, like for 15 years, I've stood in the kitchen, and whatever came in, it was kind of my job and my team's job to figure out what we were going to do with it and get it onto a menu. And like, I don't have that ability anymore. And I miss playing with food, and I miss being able to take the random box of whatever vegetable my farmer shows up with. Because he's like, hey, I got this random 10 pounds. Get anything you can do with it. Makes me feel good that instead of him throwing it away, I can give him a little bit of money for it and do something with it. So I'm really hoping that we can expand product line, expand our team, get a production facility that's down here. Along with that, like if we got something that was close down here, like I'd really love to do some like fermentation classes, like bring some people in. Like I talked about like how do we get people to experience my chef brand back when I was at Watershed, and like now I'm at a point like how do we teach people more about fermentation? Like how can we bring them in and show them like what we do, like how this is made, like how cool just that whole world is, because like fermentation is still pretty big gray area when it comes to the food world, and the average consumer walking around outside of sauerkraut and kimchi, like they have no knowledge of what fermentation is. So I feel like we blow a lot of minds at farmers markets when we're telling them we're refrigerated.
That's actually a question I have as a chef in Ohio and like growing up here. Like, how adventurous of a palate have you found people from Columbus and Ohio to be? Because coming from like Washington, I feel like, and other places, it feels like people are more open to different things.
You think they are here?
Than here. It feels like they're more very set on what they like and not. Maybe I'm crazy. We've had a few burgers where it's just like, oh, what's that?
So you're saying Columbus is more sheltered in that?
Yeah.
I would agree with that. I've never been to Washington either, so I can't say that, but I've always heard that, you know, the West Coast is always like 5 to 10 years ahead of the trends than we are. I don't know if there's any truth to that, but you know, you have your adventurous diners in Columbus for sure. But
it's a very diverse place too. Like there's a lot of different.
It is a very diverse place
and stuff.
Very much so. And I'm going to try to talk like very PC here because I don't want to say anything like make anyone mad, but like Columbus is a giant suburb. You know, it's not a Chicago. It's not a Portland. There is like we got a downtown, but like there's not a ton happening downtown on any given construction. But
a lot of construction.
There's not just like thousands of people walking around on any given day downtown. And I mentioned I grew up about an hour south of here. So looking at Columbus is really cool in the sense that it's a big city. It's a growing city. It's a college town. It's a transient city. It reminds me of when I went to Austin, Texas. I met no one who lived in Austin, Texas. Every single person I met was there because they were there for school or they were just traveling. And you'll find that a lot in Columbus. You'll find a lot of people that are here and you guys are good examples of that. Like you're not from here, but you're here planting your seed. Yeah.
Carpetbaggers.
So I find those folks tend to be the people that are a little more adventurous. Growing up an hour outside of here, you know, I had family members, I had friends that drove to Columbus every day for work. So if you look at like Nationwide Cardinal Health, there's huge worldwide hubs that are here in Columbus that draw hundreds of thousands of people in between the hours of like 7 a.m. and 5 p.m. every single day. They drive into work and then they drive an hour home. like I mentioned driving to Mansfield every day for an hour. Like driving an hour is not a big deal. Like driving to high school was like a 45-minute ordeal for me growing up. So it's pretty, you live out in the country, like an hour drive to work is not that big of a deal. So, but if you, again, take your truck an hour outside, or take your food truck that you had, take it an hour outside of the city and find someone that wants anything other than just the plain Jane cheeseburger. It's going to be really hard because you're in rural farmland America. So I think a lot of the people that end up in Columbus grew up in those roots. And I don't mean that in negative. Like that's me as well. And if I didn't start a career in the culinary world, I'd be right there, not an adventurous eater with the rest of those people. Like the way I grew up was very convenient. I never saw a piece of fish in my house other than like a fish stick. And there was very few and far between.
Goldfish.
What are you, a gay fish?
Like, so like you just don't get exposed to a lot out there. And I remember when I went, like, I remember going to a restaurant, like, how would you like your steak cooked? I'm like, fuck you mean? Like, done? I don't know. Like, and then I get to culinary school and they're like, try this raw piece of beef. And I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? Eat this raw piece of beef, And they're like, no, it's a thing.
Trying to kill me.
So I think Columbus has come a long way. If you could rewind 10 to 15 years ago to when I first started my culinary career here in town, it is so drastically different in a good way. Like, it is so much more opening and accepting of what people have to put out. But we still, as diners, have a lot to learn.
Which I think that's why they call it the testing ground. It's because it's literally like,
for sure,
it's all of these different things that coalesce in one spot. It's like, you have the transients, you have the people who just only like the one thing. It's like, it's such a melting pot. And it's like, if you can appeal to all of those groups and be successful, it's like, you'll be all right in other places.
And I look at, I don't have any off the top of my head, but if I think about a corporate restaurant, like the Olive Gardens of the world, which I love, and I'm not saying them specifically, but if you just had a concept like that you're like, hey, we're going to launch this, in the middle of Missouri, but we need a testing ground to see if this concept even works. Mm-hmm. Columbus is your place to do it, because the person that you can find in Missouri is going to be very, relatable to the average person that you find traveling into Columbus on a daily basis. Yep. And I don't know anyone in Missouri for that. Like, just on the record, I don't know that, but I'm just like using it as an example, like the farmland, like a lot of cheeseburgers get eaten, which is good for you guys.
When we started our food truck, our whole concept was like meat, cheese, sauce. Yeah. Is our yacht sauce that we put on there. And so you could get our double meat, cheese, and sauce. You could get it with grilled onions, or triple, or the patty melt and tater tots. Is it right?
Yeah. 3 things.
And 3 things and soda was, I think, the 4 things. Yeah. But, we got people all the time that would come up and they're like, you have pickles and lettuce and ketchup? We have ketchup mustard packets. It took us, I think, a few months before we're like, fine. We'll have ketchup mustard. We're not putting it on. We'll give you packets. We didn't do any vegetables, like meat, cheese, sauce, grilled onions if you want them. Yeah. And we ran into that a lot. And people were like, what kind of burger place doesn't have pickles and lettuce? I'm like, just try it. Give it a try. And eventually, now we do everything. But it's easier now with the staff and a full kitchen. Yeah,
for sure.
And a food truck with just the 2 of us trying to prep everything, and then it would just slow down our orders. And like, that's the one thing we want in the food truck was speed, consistency and speed. And so when you have 50 orders that are all different vegetables and different build outs with 2 people, it just takes forever.
Yeah. And there's a fine line of like, you're putting out the burger that you want to put out, but you're also putting it out for someone that's paying you money for it. And if, like, believe me, I get it. Like, if someone wants to pay me money for something, even if I don't want to do that, like, hey, like, give it to them. Yeah. Like, that's, you got to make money. And it's a fine line. Columbus is pretty challenging in that sense. When I opened Watershed, I as much as I love cheeseburgers, like, I'm a cheeseburger slut. I love them. I can't say no to them. I have no hesitation about them, but it didn't mean that I wanted to put one on my menu and sell it at the restaurant that I was opening. But I had to, because I knew that there was going to be that person that came in that was like, I'm here to taste, bourbon, and you don't have any burger, like
burgers, beer, and bourbon.
Yeah.
I need them all.
And, Of course, I would say the entire time that I was at Watershed, the number one seller was the cheeseburger, and not because we did anything to make that happen, it's because it's what's familiar to people, and it's where they feel safe. It's challenging for sure.
I bet, yeah.
But like I said, I think Columbus is very much opening its eyes to what the food scene is.
Yeah.
We got a lot of cool people in the media world out there. That's got little publications like the Columbus Food Letter and stuff like that. It's really doing a good job at spotlighting overlooked or other small businesses that just may not have the means or the know-how to get in front of everyone, or because how to open up a restaurant doesn't mean you know how to run ads on Instagram or any of that things that we talked about. And I feel like our city is getting a lot more helpful with one another to support everyone. The high tide floats all of our boats. It's not. I don't feel like it used to be that way in the city.
Yeah, we've come across that since we opened. Like every other business owner, restaurant owner that we've talked to has been saying, like, any way that I can help, let me know. If you have questions on anything, give me a call. And some of them you would consider like competition, but it's not like that out here. Everybody's like, we're here to help everybody grow.
Yeah.
There's plenty of mouths to feed. Yeah. And the city's just growing. So
Yep.
Better to work together with everybody.
Absolutely.
Well, you want to wrap this thing up because it stopped recording for some reason.
Are you recording now? How long ago did it stop? That was some of our best stuff. We were starting to get halfway through.
5 seconds ago.
Okay, so we probably got most of it. Yeah. You want to start recording and then we'll do a wrap up?
Yeah, bro. That's what it's gonna be. Well, cheers.
Cheers. We got something. That was good.